basically pivot their whole lifestyle and actually think about why they're doing something and focus more on getting stronger as opposed to necessarily leaner, and understanding and educating that the two aren't necessarily one in the same.
Welcome to the Kind Boss podcast, brought to you by Outsourcing Angel, an Australian-based social enterprise that specializes in helping business owners free up their time and reduce staffing costs while helping to create employment opportunities for people in developing countries. Visit outsourcingangel.com today. Now, let me welcome your host, Linh Podetti.
I'm your host, Linh Podetti. Today we'll be speaking to Roy Hanford, Director and Founder of the Fit Project. Fit Project is a multi-purpose wellness company that connects coaches to clients and clients to communities. The mission of the Fit Project is to help everyday Australians lead healthier and better lives. Listen on as Roy shares his journey on his mission to helping 2,000 Australians get fit for life and his journey in running a fitness business. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kind Boss series. And today I have Roy Hanford. Welcome, Roy.
Hey, Lynn. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. So, Roy, you're in Melbourne right now and you look warm.
It's pretty fresh down here this morning. I think it dropped to 7 or 8 degrees this morning.
Yeah.
So
it
started to warm up slightly, but it's not going to be too warm today. So I've got my down, a nice jumper on, something covering my head.
Yes. And that big smile of yours. So behind you, I can see gym equipment, and I know you run a gym. And I would really want the audience to really learn about your journey and how you decided to get into the gym business, and what was it like at the beginning?
Cool. So I got into, I guess, the fitness industry a little over 6 years ago now. The running of gyms 4 years ago, starting in commercial spaces, and then 3 years ago launching my own purpose-built facility down here in Melbourne. And why? I've always, I guess, had a affinity to movement, breath work, and that has, I guess, always been part of who I am and what I do. And I guess the main catalyst for me jumping into the industry was last time we connected, I told you a bit of my backstory, but I was working sort of like a corporate salary job that was really safe. And I just got to a point where I'd had enough of that, climbing that ladder, and had to go out and stick to my guns and my passions. And here we are, 2020, with gyms closed nationwide.
Cheers to that. Yeah. So what were those challenges? What were some of the challenges when you first started in the gym? Because I have some friends who actually bought a gym. You know, there's one thing to love fitness, and there's another thing to actually run a fitness business. So I would love to hear some of the challenges you face at the beginning.
Well, the challenges are daily. And if your friends listening, they can empathize. Many gym owners or even just business owners, there's always a challenge daily. First challenge I would say would be I guess deciding what to do and then the next steps, because being in business, and you'd know this, running your own business, much like life, is always going to throw you a curveball. So you might have the best business plan, strategy, forecast, etc., and then something will happen, like a global pandemic.
Yes.
In one extreme, or a local council will hold up, granting your permit for application to open, and that pushes the timeline out, which pushes basically everything out. So little things can snowball really fast in terms of a challenge. I think the main challenge we had opening the Fit Project in Brunswick would definitely be bridging the gap between, it's one thing running a commercial space and running someone else's gym, and it's totally something else when it's yours.
Elaborate.
Collecting a paycheck from a company, and managing staff, but always knowing you're going to have a paycheck versus opening up with staff, and I guess putting their needs and making sure that they get paid before you get paid as a startup is challenging on a number of levels, because you're always looking at cash flow. So cash is king, cash in the bank is king, but then also making sure you've got enough cash left over to fulfill your needs. But you're not just responsible to yourself and collecting that paycheck yourself. You're responsible to paying other people, which is a big difference in terms of a startup and going in for yourself.
Yeah. And how have you been able to differentiate yourself from so many gyms out there, so many fitness centers that are popping up? And yeah, I definitely can just see more of it. I'm not in the gym industry, but I'm assuming there's just a lot more of them. So how have you, been able to stand out and keep your clients coming back?
So the number one big thing for us has and always been community. So community first, and whether that's, again, like we do our best that starts with our staff. So we do our best to basically treat our staff like family, which basically means, we might not always get on, but we'll always listen to their input, and we'll always sort of make up, because they're one of your biggest assets. So treating staff like family and not just an employee is a big thing. The second thing with that is, again, coming back to the community feel, is there are a lot of big box, and there's more and more stuff popping up all the time. Our emphasis though is on more of a going slow approach, and making measurable progress, as opposed to getting involved with those sort of 6 or 8 week challenges you see all the time and rapid results fast. Our, I guess, unique selling point has always been, coming back to what I said before about my affinity. I've always had an affinity for movement, and what that means for the rest of my life is, how do we get you moving more optimally, but also how do we get you moving for the long term, as opposed to just lose 4 kilos in 4 weeks. And I think in terms of the uptake and why we've been able to stick around in a very highly competitive market, is there's very much people, I guess the consumer is used to ping-ponging in and out of those challenges. And a lot of the conversations we have is, I've done X challenge X amount of times before. And when they come to us, they're ready to make a whole lifestyle change. And totally, the word pivot's been thrown around a lot the last month or so, or 2 months, but basically pivot their whole lifestyle and actually think about why they're doing something, and focus more on getting stronger as opposed to necessarily leaner, and understanding and educating that the two aren't necessarily one in the same.
Oh, wow. Love it. Yeah. I think, as a veteran veteran, just because I've been long doesn't mean I'm good, but for many years in my early 20s, I remember, I don't know, half of my time just wasted in trying to look for the short results. But then at the end of the day, I still end up gaining it all back. And then it's just, I realize now there is no quick fix. It's just this lifestyle change, and it's a marathon and not a sprint. So I'm glad that you're not trying to promote and trying to advertise it like that. And a lot of businesses try to do that to get you in, but it's not sustainable. Yeah.
So that's even in our company statement. I think it's we've got a list of sort of 10 values, and one of the things is, like, we're a longevity company, and we're a longevity company. We want to be a longevity company for all of our staff, but we also want to be a longevity company for all of our members, past, present, and future, who come through the doors. So that on the wall of TFP, when you walk in, it's got our first 3 things, which is educate, empower, and grow, and they're our top 3 values. So our main driver is educating everyone who comes through our doors towards a long-term health and fitness goal, recognizing though that that's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. And what's more impressive is, I heard that you're actually in the middle of buying another gym. So during this pandemic, when everyone is running away from because of fear and flight, and you're getting yourself another gym, right?
We're doing our best. The market's really interesting, and in terms of what it's doing at the moment. But yeah, we'd sort of started negotiations on our second studio space in February this year, and then come mid-March or wherever it was, you had government forced closures left, right, and centre. So that's an ongoing process, but one we're still looking forward to doing when, you know, there's a little bit more certainty. And I know WA and Northern Territory recently have started making some more moves towards getting groups of people together to exercise. We'll see what happens there, but yeah, our mission is to, I guess, educate and empower over 2,000 Australians. So part of that's going to be having multiple locations in Victoria.
Yeah.
And then the 5-year plan is to have multiple locations across the Eastern Seaboard.
Amazing. So tell me more about your mindset, like for someone to still be so positive. And I know you've got multiple projects happening. I know there's an equipment business out there, and there's, you know, like your plan to expand. Yeah. What makes you stay so positive?
Well, firstly, I've got an amazing partner, and she's, I guess you'd kind of put me, if you had to pigeonhole me into something, it'd be like, I guess in that sort of like visionary thing where it's like, I'm not too concerned around the steps. I just want to get to something, and I'll do whatever it takes to get to that thing. So in terms of mindset, once I guess I have an idea, I'll do whatever it takes to make that idea a reality. But then again, coming back to Jo, who's my partner, she's very much a little bit more OCD, but also a planner. So she bridges the gap between the steps we need to take to get there. So that's one, having a yin to my yang, so to speak, really helps in terms of making my overall mindset in terms of going out and doing all this stuff, whether it's an equipment company or multiple locations. The second thing, again, in terms of mindset, is core to my own beliefs, is I really believe that movement is medicine, but purposeful movement. So finding a why for something and having a deep why, and I do in terms of ask why. So like Lynn, if you came into TFP, like I've just had my third kid, I want to lose 4 kilos in 4 weeks. I'd go, why? And you'd probably go, because I want to fit back into this size. And I go, okay, why? And you go, because I was that size before I got pregnant with my third kid. And I go, okay, why? And you'd go, I don't know, because that's what I was beforehand. And if the why, I find doing that task with clients, and also with basically anything that I do as a business owner, is if the why isn't deep enough, it's not going to be worthwhile doing. And I know, coming back to that thing about being like, I want to do that, if I can't, I guess, justify it in my own mindset why that's important to do, then I won't do it. And then I guess the third tier thing with that is there's this international event called Spartan Race that's still happening. Well, not happening at the moment with the current stuff. And that was a really pivotal moment for that, because there's the Spartan ethos around never quitting, never accepting sort of retreat, looking out for your comrades. So coming back to that community thing, that was instilled like in me about 5 years ago when I broke from the corporate sector, because that was literally like a life-changing event for me. And I was like, oh my God, like, awesome. So how do I action and execute that sort of mindset every day in the business that we run?
Yeah,
it was a big one. That was a massive tangent. Sorry.
No, I love that. I really wanted to understand what made you stay positive. And I really do agree with you, having a good relationship, because I also have a partner who just complements my skill set, and we're just happy together. It just helps to be able to battle the war that's out there, right? But if you have a shitty household, excuse me, my language, it's like it just strains you, I mean, you just need that extra support. And I think it's this time round, During the pandemic, I just realized how happy I was at home, and I was grateful for that. So then it just gave me the strength for business. You know what I mean? And so it really does help. So find the right partner. Dump the one that you have that isn't good for you. Is our message.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that too, like I think I'm a big believer too that all relationships compound. So if again, like whether it's a friendship, a more romantic relationship, or even a workplace relationship, if there's an element of that that's toxic, or you perceive as toxic, it's going to compound, and it's whether you do something about it, it'll build, and then explode. Versus if you again, coming back to sort of purposeful movement or just purposeful thought processes, if you compound and nurture, I guess, like positivity, then that compounds everywhere in the rest of your life, and the ripple effects are more widespread. So, and again, coming back to, I guess, mindset and even sort of belief structure, like I believe that everybody has a choice, regardless of where you are as a business owner, as an employee, as a contractor. We're the sum of the choices that we make. Now, some of those choices are harder given the circumstances that we find ourselves in, but everyone's faced with hard choices all the time.
Yeah, love it. Well, before I go into my next set of questions, which I really want to actually help entrepreneurs get fit, and I want to ask some tips around that. This next segment is called the high five. So I'm just going to ask you 5 this or that questions.
All about the high
five. Virtual high five. But just 5 this or that question, just to get to know you on a personal level. You just choose between the 2 options and elaborate if you like to. Very simple choices. Actually, it's so simple that it's difficult for some people. They're like, oh, I don't know. Okay. All right. First one, bench press or squats?
Squats.
Oh, wow. Just so quick. So tell me more. Why? Is it your favorite? Is it the best, most effective thing?
So from I guess, putting on like a functional coach's hat, it has the most carryover for a broader range of movement patterns, and also whether you're dealing with an athlete who wants to improve in any event, or someone in Gen Pop who wants to lose a little bit more weight, you'll get more bang for buck squatting than you will benching.
Love it. So I've been going to the gym for over 10 years, and only about a month ago, one of my new PTs said that I was doing squats wrong. And I was just like, oh my God, this is why I think everyone should invest in a PT and get it right. Stop doing it yourself. And I've spent many years trying to do it myself, and then, and just weren't doing it right. So there you go. Thank you. All right. Next question is chicken or beef? Neither. Are you a vegetarian?
Yeah, I'm straight up vegan. I'm straight up vegan. So,
neither. Wow, awesome. Well, I'm a vegetarian. Well, sometimes I bite into a prawn because I'm craving for you. Oh, don't like you. But wow, vegan. Geez, did you say vegan too? Is that a next level vegan?
Oh no, I did like the.
Oh, just vegan. Wow, how long have you been a vegan?
So vegan going on over 3 years now. It might even be 4 years, and then I was vegetarian 5+ years now.
Wow. Oh my God. I can't wait to ask you questions around that later. Number 3 is seminars or webinars?
Seminar.
Your human touch,
Human touch. I was like, I almost wanted to quantify that with are we talking post-COVID or are we talking during COVID? Because again, education is key. So any
I think I would say when we do have a choice between seminar and webinar, would you choose seminar?
Yeah, seminar, 100%.
Yeah. I learned better there too. All right, Mercedes or BMW? Tough one, huh?
That's a tough one because in terms of cars, I'm a Subaru enthusiast. So neither again. And then also I was even thinking about motorbikes, and I was like, in terms of bikes, I'm a Ducati diehard or a Harley diehard. So neither.
All right, come on. If you had to really force yourself to drive one, which one would you drive?
Let's go BMW.
Ah, nice. Good choice. I have that one, so it's good choice.
Okay, good.
Number 5, chocolate cake or chocolate ice cream? I'm asking a healthy person. A junk question.
Can I do both?
No, you can't be greedy.
All right,
You got to choose
cake
one.
then. Cake then, 100%.
Oh, right. Very interesting. Well, that's really good. Thank you for answering my high five. I really got to know you. Now, I want to get into now more like practical tips for entrepreneurs, actually, or people in general. I think that whether you're an entrepreneur or anybody, you need to take care of yourself. So what are the tips for busy entrepreneurs who are also, managing their household, especially during this time? How do they get fit? How are they going to, they're like, all right, I need to focus on my health. I want to get fit. What's your first thing you're going to ask them or work with them to get them on the right path?
What's the first thing I'd ask them? What's the number one thing that you're not doing right now?
Okay. So let's say I said I am not exercising enough. I do once a week, let's say.
Cool.
Let's say that person says that.
Yep. Do more of the thing that you're not doing.
So we know, we have the strategy. We know. Okay.
Well, I guess coming back, if we unpack that a little bit more, everyone already knows. They just don't want to accept it. And so if I guess as a coach, coaching busy people, because everyone's busy all the time, which is just an excuse that they've created in their own internal dialogue, giving someone permission or working out the strategy for them to overcome all the workaround to do the thing that they know they should be doing is the most beneficial thing you can do for an entrepreneur or anyone who's too busy navigating stuff. And then also letting them know that if they're a mother of two running their own business, running their household, they've got their annoying, stinking partner around all the time, that it's okay to start with just once a week. But next week, what we're going to do is we're going to try twice a week. And then the week after that, we're going to try for 3 times a week. And then once we've built you and we develop the strategies based on doing like a time audit of how you spend your time, because everyone's got the same amount of time, we build from there, and that's how we build your strategy.
That is so interesting, because I really think that everyone's circumstances are different. Everyone's goals are different. So you would obviously, as a coach in your business, would go like, what is your goal? What's your why? Then work out like you said, a longevity plan that is going to get you to stick. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Tell me more about the program then. So like, I'm sure a lot of business people, entrepreneurs are busy. They're like, all right, just get me the result. Like, I just want to get on it. Help me. Like, what are some of your options for programs and things that they can still do during this time?
So there's a bunch of free resources on YouTube. Literally Google's your best friend. So go busy mum, running own business, workout. Literally the first 3 things you'll find there is like a 10 to 20 minute booty burning thing on YouTube. Click the link on that. Go do that right now. If you do it again and increase your frequency, don't go to the second. Because I think when it comes to busyness and lifestyle, we'll always make time for things that we find enjoyable, and we'll always make time for things that we find pleasurable, because we're pleasure or pain driven creatures. So, and they're the 2 sort of archetypes you find when you walk into any fitness business, or even when you talk to any entrepreneur or person. My injury is playing up again. I can't possibly train, right? They've created the narrative of my pain point is my story, and that's my obstacle to progressing with my fitness and lifestyle goals, versus the person who is like, maybe likes training too much and overtrains. They're also, a different version of that archetype who really likes the pain, that no pain, no gain sort of thing, right? But then there's the person who walks, then there's the pleasure person who just genuinely enjoys training, like myself, coming back to why I'm smiling all the time. I just love movement. And I know if I have 2 or 3 days of doing nothing and I'm hunched over the computer or doing a Zoom call like this, my mood suffers, my back's sore, so much stuff suffers. Again, my lovely partner goes, get in the car, going for a run, or like, get in the shed, go lift some metal.
Yeah.
Because you're a sad sack to be around, go do it. And as soon as that happens, I go from being sad sack disappointed to, hey, how good's the endorphins and the serotonins and everything running to my brain. So that doesn't really answer your question around the programming stuff, but I think like finding something you can enjoy with people that you enjoy it with is key. So again, like if you're in a partnership, you might really enjoy, say, spin classes, Lynn, but your partner might really enjoy, I don't know, something like CrossFit. So recognizing that both those two things as training paradigms are good for both of you, but they're not going to be good for both of you at the same time. And if your partner's dragging you to a CrossFit class and that's not your jam, you're going to hate it. So you're going to find any excuse to not do anything. And then you're going to have a whole lot of associations with exercise and everything like that, and vice versa. So find something you enjoy doing that is that works for you and is enjoyable. And then also my biggest thing would be work with a coach in a program to hold you accountable.
Yeah. So do you have that kind of program right now in your business?
Yeah, so we run TFP virtual training where we set you up with a coach and they'll program 3 of those sessions for you, do an accountability call with you, give you real-time feedback in terms of workouts when you complete them, and then engage with you multiple times on a weekly basis to build that build that routine into your life. And then we also run a streaming service where people can jump on a Zoom call with a coach and live stream with a coach as well. That's how we've pivoted our business.
Yeah. So what's your main website? Is that the fitproject.net.au?
No, TFP 2020 is the best way to get.
Okay. Yep. TFP 2020. Yep.
Yep. .com.au. And then you can basically send an inquiry through to any of those streams, or if you're just unsure, there's a button there so you can just reach out and send us an email.
Awesome. I can't wait for people to download and get some help, because I think, once you sort out your fitness routine and you feel good about yourself each day, it just really helps your business anyway. You can fight as much as you want in the battleground, but if you don't have that, if you're not happy and healthy, you just can't do it. So yeah. Love it. Okay, well, I've got 2 questions before we go. One of my questions now is, since this is a Kind Boss podcast, what does a kind boss mean to you?
A kind boss means to me doing the right thing by your team, even if it's not necessarily the right thing for the business. A kind boss to me means prioritizing the needs of the people who work with you, sometimes above the needs of the business.
Wow.
So, and I guess, if you're a company director or on a board of shareholders, I think if there was a little bit more kindness in and around a lot of businesses, would have better workplaces and would have better productivity and would have, I guess, longevity in terms of all of our, the people who work with us.
Beautiful. Love it. I could even see your eyes tearing up there. No, it's just probably hay fever, but anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
My last loved it. My last question for you is, what do you want people to remember Roy for?
What do I want people to remember me for? I would like people to remember me with a smile. And
what's the dog that you mentioned again? The name of the dog? Labrador, is that or something?
Oh, Labrador.
Yeah. Yep.
As a Labrador.
Yeah. So the guy with the big smile.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Well, that's a wrap up, Roy. Thank you so much. I hope that people felt inspired in getting fit. And if someone who's already running a business in fitness, then stay positive and keep on smiling like Roy. So thank you so much for being on our podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Lynn. Good to talk.
Thank you for joining our podcast today. We hope this interview has inspired and humbled you to be a kind boss. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think about our show. If you have any questions, please visit outsourcingangel.com. Until then, stay kind and spread love.